Video, we're going to show how Scholarcy can help with your literature review by turning search results from search engines such as PubMed into summary flashcards that you can read, share and annotate on any device. Let's look at an example. So in PubMed, we're going to do a simple search on cancer immunotherapy. And we're going to apply a filter for articles that have a free full text, that are clinical trials and have been published in the last year. And we're going to export the research results to our citation manager. And what this does is creates a PubMed file called a .nbib file, which has the information of the title, DOI, and authors and abstract of the paper. So let's do that now. And we want all the results. We've got 71 results. Let's create the file. We're going to save it to this folder. Click Save. Let's go back to our Scholarcy library and we're going to create a new folder for our literature review. And within this library we're going to create a subfolder. Let's call it PubMed Immunotherapy. And we're going to change some of our settings. Our default settings show the title, author, year and a few other fields for each paper. But we want to be able to see the main finding of each paper that gets automatically extracted by Scholarcy's artificial intelligence. So we're going to go to settings and we're going to go to our column settings and we want to see the date added and the generated headline. So we can have 4 fields: title, author, date added, and the generated headline. We're going to save that. And we go back to our folder, import our document that we exported from PubMed. Now this is going to take some time because what's happening is that Scholarcy is going to locate the free full text of each of these articles and use its machine learning technology to distill each article into a summary flashcard. So while this is running, we can leave this running in the background. We can actually go and make a cup of tea, or we can log out, or we could go to one of our other folders and see what's happening. So we can read some other document if we wish. And this will continue to churn away in the background, distilling all these articles for us to help us with our literature review. But you can see it's starting to pull some in already. So let's have a look at one of these. And you can see now that Scholarcy's generated a headline from the paper giving us the main finding that toripalimab has good safety profile and seems to be a promising treatment for advanced gastric cancer. So let's have a look at that. And so what we have is our summary flashcard now that's been distilled from the paper. We can expand some of these sections so we can see the summary that's been generated, where it's distilled each section of the paper. So we can see our main objective here is to investigate the safety and efficacy of toripalimab. And why was this study important? Well, it looks like a previous drug failed to provide a survival benefit over another drug. If we're not sure what this drug is, we can click on this and it will take us to Wikipedia page which will tell us a bit more about this. So this is quite useful if you're an undergraduate student or maybe a first year graduate student who wants to get a bit more background information on some of the key terms in the paper. We can go to our shorter summary, which is the Scholarcy highlights, and this just gives us 5 or 6 bullet points that summarize the whole paper, giving us the main finding, which we also had as our headline here. And also another finding here, the potential of using this as a first-line treatment for advanced gastric cancer. So the other thing that Scholarcy does is automatically expand abbreviations. So, if we're not sure what AGC is, it may have been defined at the beginning and then not subsequently. So we can always mouse over that and just get a reminder about what's being spoken about here. We get links to figures. So figure 3 is mentioned here in the highlight. So let's click on that. And we get a thumbnail of the image, which we can then click on. And we get a full-size image. And again, if we want to zoom in further, we can go into figure 3C and see in detail exactly what's been spoken about in the paper there. Now we're interested typically in clinical trials on who were the study participants, how many were there, does this is the study size big enough to show a reasonable effect? Scholarcy automatically identifies them for us. So we can see that there were 58 chemo-refractory advanced gastric cancer patients that it's told us about here, and it's highlighted that for us. And that's in one cohort, and in the second cohort we had 18 patients in a separate group. And similarly, Scholarcy will identify limitations of the paper. So it tells us that a small number of patients may limit the use of this as a biomarker, and again that the small sample size in studies could be enhanced with further clinical research. So this gives you an overview of how Scholarcy will distill search results into summary flashcards and immediately show the main finding or some of the main points of each paper, so we can more easily and more quickly screen the papers to see if they're useful for our literature review.